So now that we've done kind of the front-end testing, we can actually walk through the logic. We've seen this input screen make sense. This is and true for every input screen. If you select over here, you can actually see what the text is. You can drag other stuff in, but we're not going to worry about that for now. The assignment makes sense because this is that record ID, and we're actually creating a variable record. And you'll see best practices to always kind of prefix variables, whether or not they're a change set or other, you should be able to understand it just from the variable name. So we've got that all set up. What we're able to then do is and the way Flow Builder works, it's really separate from Salesforce, and it really only knows what you tell it. So at this point, we want it to go out and get the account record associated with the variable household record ID, which was the record ID, but again, it makes more sense as you read it. And for that, we want to pass it into a record variable called household. And these are the fields that we want. We want to know the office, the crews, junior rep, and senior rep, and also the name of the household. And then coming out, we found is that when you go out and get the junior rep name, unfortunately, it's just the record ID. And the way that we saw that, which is just interesting, I think, too, to kind of look at, is when you look at the debug, what you get is that, again, we launched it, you had the initial screen, you do the assignments, which we've done. That was the assignment variable. The fast lookup was to go out and get this information. It did find the record based on, and that's the record ID that should be familiar from the hack that we did earlier. And then what it's doing is it's going out, and you can see the variable, the record variable household junior rep associated is just a record ID. So what we do is to go out and get the variable name, which shows up here. Okay, and so and then we're going to go out and get the senior rep, and then we're going to display. And so we're actually to this point we've gotten that get. We're going to go out and get the other one, and then we're going to immediately display this screen, which is saying, show me again the record variable household for office, for crews, and for the variable names that we pulled in on the second step for the junior and senior rep. For simple ones here, we're going to do a checkbox for this, right? We're going to say, so if you click here, it's going to say, go out and get me the change senior rep. Is that going to be true? So you'll see that in the next step. This one is a little bit interesting. And so what I'm doing is going out to look at a PCS, right, which is the Picklist Choice Set. And so I'm going to do that for cruise invites. So let me just show you how that's going to look. So if we go out here and we look at this is in my Toolbox Manager, and I enter CRUI, I find the cruise invite pick list and the choice set, and what we're looking at is the account object for a pick list, and we're looking on the field cruise invite, and so that's what displays there, and so we're able to capture that information. Okay, so once we've got it, then we're going to go and we're going to do the if, and we're going to say if the change senior rep is true, then what we're going to do is we've got if all the conditions are met, and we're going to create default information here, then what we're going to say is let's go out and update the senior rep. Now to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to display, here's the current senior rep name, and that's just using a display. And then we're going to use a series of radio buttons. And again, that's just pulling from here, right, to the radio buttons. We drag that in. And if we select, we're seeing it's RCS. So we're looking at a change set. And so let's go out and take a look at that to give you a sense of it. So I'm going to do RCS. And so I get my record choice sets. I've got a senior rep out here. And again, this is just naming conventions. Makes it easier to find stuff. and I'm going to click, what I'm going to be doing is saying for the user record, and these are the junior and senior reps are both, they're users of Salesforce, so that's where we're actually able to go out and get information that way. And I want to say, is it true? And then I also want to look and say where the senior rep is a checkbox. So what I've done, if we go out and look at that, what I've done on my user record, this is just looking at users within the setup. If I drop down, what I find is that I've got a junior rep and senior rep checkbox that I've added to this object. And that was kind of relatively easy to do and an easy way to be able to filter for the right ones that we want. And now once I've identified that list, what it's going to say is, here's how you want to sort it. I'm going to sort it by first name. I could give it a max number of choices, but that's not a problem for me at this point. And then for each one, what it's saying is create the choices using the name, and then what I want it to return is a variable. So I want the ID to be passed to a variable. This is new senior rep record ID and senior rep name updated. Now, where that comes in is we look at the next step. When we do the assignment, what we're doing is saying, pass that information into a variable called final senior rep name and final senior rep ID. And again, that's just kind of debug steps. But what that does is when if I do the default outcome, which is if we weren't making the change, what I'm doing then is just changing putting the senior rep name into the final senior rep. So I'm just basically saying what's there, pass into the current one. And so that makes sure that we do have the correct variables. We're also going to do that for junior rep, same process. And then we're going to go out and do the update. The update's pretty straightforward then, because all we're doing is saying for the account record with the variable household record ID, that's the one we've been working with because that's the information we pulled originally. Here's the updated information, the variable final information that we want to bring in, and then we're able to save it. And at that point, we're then able to, we'll talk more about the other steps that this flow is going to go through. But thanks for watching.